Namaskar friends, I hope you are in the best of your spirits as always and not leaving any stone unturned for your upcoming exam. Like the other videos of this series, let us take 10 questions and learn little more of the system of governance in India, which you aspire to become a part of very soon. As I always recommend, it will be beneficial if you keep your copy of the Constitution of India close to you for reference as we move along. I also recommend you please pause the video as the question is displayed. Answer the question yourself first and only then proceed to listen. That is how you will improve your ability to recall as well as developing interconnections in your knowledge base, as knowing just the answer is not the goal for us here. And continuing with the previous video, in this one too, on the right hand side you will see the emblems or seals of the different state governments of India. Your task is to identify them while you listen to the explanation. Lastly, I strongly suggest to complete this video. So even if you wish to skip some part of my talk here, do watch it till the end by skipping, or much better option of increasing the speed. Alright, so let us take the first question. And it is, which of the following statements is or are correct regarding the proceedings of Lok Sabha? First statement says that a question may be addressed by a member to a private member. So essentially it's asking, can a question be addressed to a private member or is it just the ministers? And the second one is about the quorum. See, a question may be addressed even to a private member, provided the subject matter of the question relates to some, let's say, a bill or a kind of a resolution or any other matter connected with the business of the house for which the member is responsible, right? So it is totally possible in the rules of the Lok Sabha, Rule 40, it allows for this. Then the second one, often I see confusion in this regard, that is the presiding officer part of the quorum or not. For no reason actually this confusion persists. Not a surprise that about third of the respondents on the channel thought this statement is incorrect. Anyway, let us end all confusion today. In the Constitution, under Article 100 Clause 3, it states that the quorum to constitute a meeting shall be 1/10 of the total number of members of the House. Remember, members of the House. So, Speaker is a member of Lok Sabha. Right, he is a legitimate member, and the handbook of Lok Sabha also very clearly states that quorum shall be 55, including the speaker. So never have any doubt, they are members, they are counted in the quorum. And that, by the way, is the government of Manipur. I really invite you to understand what that animal is or whatever you think that is. Okay, moving on to the next question. Which among the following was the first municipal corporation in India? And a lot of you knew, but still I was surprised that many of you don't know. It was Madras. I mean, the answer is known. It was created by a royal charter in 1687 by the King James II at that time. In fact, Madras was the first municipal corporation under the British Empire outside the Britain. It has the distinction of being the second oldest civic body in the world after London. And over years it has transformed, and today it is known as the Greater Chennai Corporation. Okay, these two here, Calcutta and Bombay, they were actually constituted in 1726 and reconstituted again many times. Now, fourth one, Delhi, as you can guess, would have been found much later. It was constituted after independence in 1957 by the Municipal Act. So anyway, that's your government of Karnataka, the seal for the state. Moving on to the next question, we have, when a question arises as to whether the chairman or the speaker of a house has become subject to disqualification under the anti-defection law, the question is referred for a decision to. That means who decides on the defection issues of the chairman or the speaker themselves, because for rest of the members they decide. See, this is again an example of how we suffer for not having read the provisions of the Constitution ourselves and always relying on ad hocism in our learning. Most of us would just see the answer of this question also and again move on to the next question. The spirit of learning should always drive you to find answers and not be passive learners, if you get what I am trying to convey. Anyway, open up your copy of the Constitution of India and refer to para number 6. Okay, especially the proviso under the para number 6, okay, in the 10th schedule. Please read that and you'll very clearly see it is a member who is elected by the House for this purpose. See, that is what I'm talking about. This kind of performance on such a basic question of anti-defection law, that who is the decision maker, cannot be wrong. You know, this is pathetic to my mind. 80% of you got it wrong. That is not acceptable. You know, we all talk about current affairs, current based questions. Our basics are not sorted. How will we perform, right? Let's do it better. I'll put more questions on the basics of anti-defection law and I want everybody to get it right. Okay. All right. So read para 6 right now. In fact, read the whole of it, you know, at least the main paras there up to para number 7. Anyhow, I hope you recognized this logo here. That's of Uttar Pradesh. Next question is, which of the following are not a member of any of the zonal councils? Well, the answer is already known to you. But if you have got the hang of this exam and the process of learning, your mind should be pinching you by asking why they are not part of the zonal council. That is what we must capture, so that it is not just rote learning and we remember things better that way, of course. So it should not happen that just because no book or teacher has told you something like this, and if asked, 75% of us get it wrong. Okay, this should not happen. Okay, so with that gyan, let us now see actually. So see, Lakshadweep and the Andaman and Nicobar Islands, being island union territories and also not contiguous to the mainland, they don't really have major interstate or border or cooperation issues with others, except some minor issues of concern, you know. So they aren't a member, but only an invitee to the Southern Zonal Council. Okay, to the Southern Zonal Council. See, once a state or UT is a member, okay, if they are a member, they become a stakeholder and have voting rights. Here they are just an invitee in the Southern Zonal Council. I hope that made some sense. And moving on to the next question, we have, which of the following is or are not a fundamental right provided by the Constitution of India? Well, a decently, you know, simple question, but still not a lot of you got it. Now see, Article 1. This statement 1 is straight away your right to freedom of religion under Article 25 Clause 1. Statement 2, I mean, it's always in the talk. We had a question in the last video also, that is Article 16 Clause 1. Now the third one, which says right to free and compulsory education for all children up to the age of 14 years. See, this is related to Article 21A of the Constitution. Now read this article carefully. I know a lot of you have never read these articles. Read it carefully and see. It is for all the children between the ages of 16 to 14 years of age. In fact, if you have read your topic of right to education carefully, you would know that the DPSP was converted into the right. And the DPSP is still there in Article 45. Okay, for early childhood care and education of all children until they turn 6. Go and read Article 45. Originally it was for up to 14. Now it is up to 6 because 6 to 14 has been made a right. So in a way what has happened? State has implemented the original DPSP partially. And part of the DPSP, the original DPSP, still remains for future implementation. That's how governance proceeds. So make sure you understand these kind of things better, because we need to become better. That's our only task. Okay, next question, which of the following have been prescribed by the Constitution of India as a fundamental duty of every citizen? Answer again is obviously known to you already. All three are a fundamental duty. In previous videos in May and June 2020 somewhere, I remember a couple of times at least I have given you advice regarding reading all the 11 duties under Article 51A of the Constitution. But if you don't do the effort, you and I, both of us, will continue to see lack of performance. Okay, so if you didn't read the fundamental duties yet in detail, do it now. If you did read them earlier, revise now. Okay, we cannot be confused in these kind of things, that what is a fundamental duty or not, especially when they're just 11 sentences written there. So we'll move on to the next question, and that is, the Directive Principles of State Policy constitute limitations upon. Now, see, DPSPs, they are not a limitation on the government. They're not a limitation. They do not set a boundary for the state, unlike the fundamental rights, which do provide a limitation, as in what the state cannot do, okay? Such as state cannot take your life without a due process. That is why DPSPs are also called positive obligations of the state. You must have heard of this, okay? And if you really understood what it means to be a positive obligation, the obvious answer to this question would be none of them, right? Because DPSP is not a limitation. Even if state is in violation of the DPSPs, it is okay. They aren't to be implemented immediately as of now. I mean, if you don't implement, if you're in violation, and most of the DPSPs are in violation in a way anyway, because we have not yet implemented them. Okay, so none of them are a limitation, and more than half of you got it right. But understand these kind of nuances better. So moving on, we have which of the following criteria have been used by the 15th Finance Commission for horizontal devolution, that is among the states. Okay, it is not the vertical devolution that is between the center and state. It's asking horizontal devolution of the divisible pool of the union tax proceeds. Okay, so how the states get their share. So again, answer is no. But see, this question also, I really expected a better performance because at least on 2 other previous videos I had given advice to read the criteria on which 15th Finance Commission has based its recommendations. But if you're not consistent in following advice, improvement will remain ad hoc and will take very long time. We need to do better than 44% as a team, right? Anyhow, 15th Finance Commission on the recommendations on the horizontal devolution among the states is based on 6 parameters. These are your 6 parameters. Now, do not just mug it up, okay? Know it in 1 line or 2 lines maximum. What do these criteria really mean? And read it from the report itself. Okay, like see, for example, you should know that this, in the previous one, we had this fiscal discipline. Now, this fiscal discipline has stopped since the 13th Finance Commission itself. Okay, so 13th Finance Commission had used it last time. Then the 14th Finance Commission, they have not used it, and so 15th Finance Commission has also not used it. Now, what does it mean? That's your homework. Also, it should be evident to you that the criteria, it's a mix of the need-based criteria as well as equity-based criteria as well as what we call performance-based criteria. So it's a mix of need, equity and performance. See, you need to pick up all this kind of language and words to write mains answer also in future. But basics are these things. Okay, so please do just know at least 2 lines on all of these things, that what do they mean. This is the exact criteria for the horizontal devolution. Okay, so the second last question for this video, we have which of the following statements is or are correct. The state-wise allocation of seats in Lok Sabha is based on the census of 1971 and the adjustment of boundaries is based on the census of 2001. I mean, this is not that difficult a question. This is correct. Both the statements are correct. The seats are still as per 1971 census, whereas the Delimitation Act of the year 2002 allowed for the adjustment of boundaries, and based on the order issued by the president in 2008, the latest delimitation is working. Of course, you should know that with time more delimitation has happened for the newer states, but that is for their assemblies. For example, recently Jammu and Kashmir delimitation was undertaken. But at the national level in the Lok Sabha, it is still based on the census of 2001. Jammu Kashmir delimitation, I hope you know, was based on the census of 2011, which is the latest census data that we have. Okay, so and the performance has been decently appreciable in this one. So we move on to the last question of this video, and that is recently Ministry of Human Resource Development has been renamed as Ministry of Education. I'm sure you all know which of these are the departments of this ministry. I was actually hoping we'll do much better, but because the entire, recently the national education policy has been released. It is in 2 parts, right? One is school education and higher education. These are the 2 departments. I hope from this question you are able to see how we must handle prelims preparation in light of emergent or current issues, like in this case NEP. And remember, prelims is all about basics. Command your basics. Prelims is guaranteed, I can tell you that. Anyway, these are the 2 departments here in the Ministry of Education. Well, okay. So, all the states you have seen except 3 and union territories which have a symbol. Not all of the states of India have a separate symbol. They all use Government of India's emblem, the state emblem. So 3 are left. I'm going to bring it up here. You pause the video here, take about 30 seconds, 40 seconds to figure out what you think these 2 are. then unpause, because I'm going to give you the answer right now. And this was the 10 questions for this video. I'll see you very soon with 10 more questions. Till then, keep attempting, keep preparing. All the best. Thank you very much.